boys. And we would normally be here to talk about some positive things like Queen Sugar or Raising Canaan or just some positive stuff. But we're here to talk about the
Bro,
Ravens. The
this
the the
this
Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens just lost to the New York Giants by the score of 24-20. And we won't take up much of your time, but we are here to fuss about this. Garland, I'll let you start.
you can't be a fifth-year quarterback and get a bad snap, pick it up, and just toss it downfield to Patrick Ricard. You just can't do it. You
So,
can't do it. You can't be a Super Bowl favorite team and don't know how to line up covering the
that
tackle.
that's
You
so
can't be a Super Bowl quality team and can't stop a team with no wide receivers on 3rd and 12 and 3rd and 14.
in the same drive. So here's the thing for me. And I'm mad at Kenyon Drake for lining up incorrectly. I
But
am mad at Lamar.
the quarterback has to see that, and the
Well,
offensive lineman has to see that.
I'm mad at Lamar for throwing the interception. He shouldn't have thrown. He should have just taken the sack and made them drive the field. But you know who else I'm mad at? I'm mad at Greg Roman and John Harbaugh for driving the field on a run and then calling three straight
Oh my
pass
God.
plays.
I pulled that up.
Three
Give me
straight pass plays. I
okay.
could not believe it.
So
They
they
were
get the
running
ball,
at will
Calvin.
today.
Yeah, they get the ball, and after Dobbins runs for a
And
couple
please comment if
yards,
you all want to comment. What's going on, DeAndre?
you have Jackson. He throws a 11-yard gain to Mark Andrews. Then they have a false start, as always, Baltimore, and then they come back. Jackson scrambles to has a 13-yard scramble. Then they have another false start. He has a pass to Likely. Then God, it just they had three straight passes. They're inside the 5-yard line, and they
Run the
have
ball.
yeah.
The
I
run
can't
has
do it,
been
man.
paying dividends today. The Giants could not stop the
Oh
run. And
yeah,
and
no,
you
I was
get
looking at the
down.
wrong one.
I,
Let me give you
I,
two. Let me give you two the scenario again. Okay, first two plays, one was incomplete, one was a penalty. Next play, he hits Andrews for 16 yards. Andrews showed up today. Then you have Kenyon Drake. He had a good game. He goes for 30 yards on the run. And then Jackson, he goes for 18 yards or 16 yards on a scramble. Then they do a short pass to the right on the 5-yard line. They do another pass to Duvernay, and they do another pass to Andrews. All all at the I'm sorry, they weren't inside the 10. They were at the Giants 16. All down in the red zone. And you do three. Now you've run the ball and you had
running.
success running the ball.
Much success. You've had much success today
Bro,
running the ball
I
and
can't.
and you passing the ball and you got to settle for 3 yards.
Yeah.
You
So
got to settle
for
for 3 yards.
me, it's a combination of I did not like one again defensively. What do I always say about the secondary? They love turning scrubs into all pros.
Who was the guy
Again,
today? Who was his what
Wendell Robinson.
Wendell? Yeah.
I ain't never heard of Wendell Robinson in my life. Three
they
catches, one touchdown. Daniel Bellinger. I ain't never heard of Daniel Bellinger in my life.
on a day
Five
that they
catches,
kept
30.
Saquon at bay. They kept
Right.
Saquon at bay. He scored that final touchdown, but
Yeah,
they
you
kept
keep
him
him
at
under
bay for
100
the most
yards.
part.
You kept
Yeah.
Daniel Jones under 200 yards passing. And Calvin, you just, yeah, I mean, Andrews, good day, 7 catches. That's why receiver one. Likely had several catches today. Josh Oliver had a couple catches. Demarcus Robinson, you only threw, Duvernay only had one catch. The one that he should have had for a touchdown, Lamar threw it low. And I know the blitz was coming in his face,
Well, that was
but
the first down. I don't know if that was the one that was
no,
tipped. Oh,
no,
the
not the
one he
one,
dove for. That's right. Yeah,
one
yeah,
that he
yeah,
dove
yeah.
for.
Yeah,
That should
the
have
one
been a
that he dove
touchdown.
for.
If he's
One of
able
they
to
dope for
step into that throw and throw it, that's a touchdown. And
yeah.
so it's just
On
to
on a
this. Yeah,
day
I
where
agree. This is worse than the Dolphins' loss. This
on
is
a
worse
day
than the
where
Dolphins' loss.
you control you've controlled the AFC North. You're in control of the AFC North. Now you let the Bengals beat the Saints because they actually almost lost that game. So now the Bengals are tied with you in record. And even though Pittsburgh, we consider them out of it, they just beat the
They
Bucks.
just
And
beat the Bucks.
Pittsburgh is going to always hang around there. Cleveland
Always bet
lost, so
on Mike Tomlin.
we got to go home and play Cleveland next week, which is going to be an important game. More important than it needs to be. It's almost another must-win game at home against the division opponent. You
Calvin.
cannot lose this game. So whose loss is worse to the Giants? Is it our loss or is it Green Bay's loss last week? It has to be ours because Green Bay
Has to
just
be
got their
ours.
asses handed to them
Right.
in Lambeau by the Jets. By the way, I think our picks are just getting rocked
Yeah, our
this week.
picks. Not, not, as a
San
matter of fact,
Francisco
let me pull
lost.
up the
The
picks.
Niners got.
I, bro, Jaguars lost, Browns lost, Buccaneers lost, 49ers lost, Packers lost. Those are
we
all
get
games we picked together.
we get rocked
We're
this week.
getting
Oh, and
rocked.
the Ravens lost. We picked the
And
Ravens.
the
We
Ravens.
forgot.
And the Ravens lost. Okay, the
These were
only
definite wins we thought we
right.
had.
You picked the Bengals over the Saints, and I picked the Commanders over the Bears, and we both got the Vikings right. Outside of that, we ain't got nothing working. Nothing working. But
But
yeah,
yeah,
man,
man,
this is I think
back to
this is
this. This is a
worse
bad
than
loss. This is a bad
the
loss.
Miami loss. The
I
Miami
don't know.
loss,
So I don't know. Um,
what
all
was the
losses are bad. The only reason I'm going to say the Miami loss is worse is because it's an AFC opponent. Now, if you're
right?
talking about morale and the way the team played, then yeah, this looked bad. But when it comes to just the technical issues of the technical standings and all, the Miami loss is worse because it's an AFC opponent. But we should not have lost this game. This game should
Bro,
have been a win. I just
bro. And yeah, it's just
The
it's
Giants damn
terrible.
near gave us the game until the fourth quarter. They
Yeah,
gave us the game.
bro. Once we get that first, if that first down with Lamar stands on that sneak, the game is over. The
It's over.
game is
It's over.
over.
It's over. It's over.
You get a
And
penalty, and
and I
then you
I
get a
hate to
bad
blame.
snap, and you throw that ball. Let's go. Let's go to that one. Before you say, let's go to that play. Let's go to that play. I'm not saying Trey Lamar. That's dumb. That's dumb.
That's
But
absolutely incorrect.
as a
Not
fifth
that you saw,
year,
but they shouldn't say it.
as a fifth year starter, a former MVP, a perennial All Pro, you have to know you can't throw that pass. Throw it out of bounds. And kick it down, flip the field, and let the defense try to win it for you. Although they probably wouldn't.
So
This
the
you can't do
defense
that.
the defense actually were in the bend don't break mode, but it seems like when they get into the fourth quarter, they were bad. Now I'll tell you, if you saw
This bend
Marcus
don't break
Peters
crap is getting on my nerves.
if you saw Marcus Peters when he got that penalty, caught that interception, but got the
Mm-hmm.
penalty that was called back, he was looking like the game was his fault. I'm looking at him like, sir, this was not on you in the least bit. Like, I mean,
Bro, they don't have a pass rush.
it's the pass
They
rush.
do
They
not
do not.
have a pass rush. None. None. Daniel Jones ran into those couple sacks that they had today.
They
They did
no
not.
pass rush.
No pass
They,
rush. You had. I'm looking at the sacks right now. Pat Queen had one sack. Travis Jones in the opening drive, he had a sack, and Calais had one where he was barely holding on to his legs.
Calais had
But
one, yeah.
yeah, but they don't have. If you can't rush the passer in the NFL, and if you can't get off the field on third and longs, you're not gonna win. I don't care how many points you score. I don't care.
Harbaugh. So on that 3rd and 14, Harbaugh took the declined the penalty, took the
Yeah, he
sack,
declined the
so
pen.
they could
Yeah,
not get the down. So they wouldn't have an extra down. Shit, he should have just went ahead and took the extra yards and gave them the
right,
extra down if they was
right,
going to get it anyway.
right.
I don't understand. Another thing I noticed. So in that final drive, the drive before the miscue on the snap and the interception, in that final drive, did you notice that they were hiking the ball with 11 seconds left on the play clock? And I'm literally like, why are you leaving this much time on the play clock when you're under 6 minutes left to go in the game? Let this clock run down. I don't understand
To
what they were.
me, this is the type of game you get fired from. You this is supposed to be, Calvin, a Super Bowl contending team. You're getting back all these players from injury. You spent some money. This team is supposed to be performing better than 3-3 at this junction. This is horrible. This is horrible.
The another thing I noticed, the free flying, the free ball moving Lamar finally caught up to him, and that last
And
fumble,
that last one, he gets stripped.
he does
He
that
holds the
all
ball down
he
low.
does it all the time. Finally
Yeah.
caught up to him on this one. So the commentator said they think Kenyon Drake said something which made Lamar turn, which made him miss the snap that came out. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
Uh,
agree. Whoever said that this is a Super Bowl contending staff, yes.
and
And McDonald, I
McDonald is a
I
problem.
agree.
McDonald is a
I
problem. Yeah.
agree. This scheme wise, it's just something that they just cannot. You don't have the dogs to get to the quarterback,
And
and you can't lay back in these shells and think you're gonna, you know,
yeah, teams
you
aren't
can't get off
scared
the
of you.
field.
Your
Yeah,
teams
teams are
aren't
not
scared of
scared,
you. That
and
you don't have any offensive weapons except for Lamar and Mark Andrews, and everyone
right.
knows that. You're starting to get a running game, but you don't even want to use the running game. So it's absolutely awful. And as Wink said today, or Wink said a few weeks ago, a few months ago, he don't care if Lamar wins
He didn't
MVP
say
12
that.
times.
Stop
That was
saying that
Wink.
about
Wink
Wink.
said that
It was
shit.
not
And
Wink.
Wink said that
That was
shit,
not
and Wink
Wink.
backed the shit up.
That
Wink
was
said
not
that
Wink.
shit
Wink
today.
did not say that, y'all.
Wink said
Wink did
that
not
shit,
say that.
and he
I,
backed
I
it up
like what someone
today.
just said. It's time for Harbaugh to go. This team could reach their potential with the coach. Lamar saved his job and is keeping him afloat.
Absolutely,
I agree
Lamar
with it.
saved his job. Yeah, he was
And right
supposed to be
now,
gone that season that Lamar came in for Flacco. That
mhm,
was Harbaugh's last season. Lamar saved his job and has
mhm.
kept him on a 4-year extension since then.
Like I said, to me, this is the type of game you get fired. For real. This is the type of loss that you would get fired for.
You think they're gonna
Because
pull that trigger?
no, they're not gonna pull that trigger. They're not gonna
They
pull that
can't.
trigger.
They can't pull
They,
the trigger with McDonald at
but
defensive coordinator.
right, I will say this. If they do not make the playoffs, I don't
He's
think he's
definitely
there
gone.
next year.
Yeah,
He's
he's
gone next
definitely
year.
gone. He's definitely gone.
And at this point, Lamar, yeah, they won last week and he pulled out some things on that last drive. But for the last 3 games, he has not played well. He has not played well. He's not. A lot of those throws are a little bit behind. They're a little bit too high. They're a little bit too soft. They're a little bit too floaty, and it just, outside of throwing to Andrews, who
And see that, and that's another thing I was going to say. Yeah, he hasn't been playing well, and his throws
he
haven't
has
been the
not.
best. But he also doesn't have a wideout that can save him. He does not have one. I
He
mean,
has one,
and
Mark Andrews.
well, Mark Andrews is a tight end, and once you double and triple team
He's
him or take him out,
RW.
then
He's WR1.
he is ours. But we need another
Right.
receiver now. I hate to say this. I hate to ask, but there's two things I need to ask
Please.
you and anyone else that wants to comment.
Mhm.
Do we miss Wink and do we miss Marquise Brown?
Ooh, I will say this. They wanted to change the the defense from a hard blitzing defense, which Wink was running, to a more disciplined, zone based defense. That's why they went and got McDonald. And
Is
I
it
don't
working?
think I don't think it's necessarily it's not like they're getting blown out. They just can't stop teams come the fourth quarter. They can't stop these drives. They can't get up. And I think it's more of a deficiency that they don't have a pass rush. I don't think
The personnel?
last year the personnel was all that great. The other couple years that Wink was there, they were just blitzing hard, and then it was coming back to bite them at the end. They don't have the personnel. I look at
What
EDC for that, and then
what
someone
about
said,
Marquise? Are we missing Marquise Brown? I see someone comment no and no.
"No, I don't think we're missing Marquise. I don't think Marquise. To me, the issue is defensively. They cannot stop anyone defensively. You can't give up these long drives. You get in the third down and 8, third down and 9, third down and 7, and you might as well just go ahead and move the sticks because they cannot. You look at the pass rush, it's not there. You cannot keep on getting into these third and 8s, third and 9s, and not get off the field.
Yeah, but you still need you still need a little more offense, I believe. I believe you need if you notice, Lamar trusts no one. He trusts no one but Mark Andrews. No one. He
Yeah,
barely trusts Bateman. He trusts Duvernay a little more, but Duvernay wasn't getting open today. What's his name? What's their star cornerback name? Seem to have had him on lock today.
I don't know.
Um,
I didn't know they
the
had stars on that team.
Yeah, they got I can't remember Jackson, Adoree Jackson,
Yeah,
Adoree Jackson.
Dory
Um,
Jackson, the star.
I said on their team he's a star. I ain't
Okay.
say a star. I ain't say a star in
Okay.
the NFL. I
Are
said a
you
star in
come on
their
now,
team.
bro?
Um,
Dory
now,
Jackson.
now
But
what's
yeah,
what's
come
our
on.
guy's name? I don't even know our wideout's name that came over from
Demarcus Robinson.
Raiders. Demarcus
Demarcus
Robinson.
Robinson.
So even in that last drive, Lamar
Hmm.
hits him right on the hands and he drops that
And he
ball,
drops it.
man. And
He
Lamar
drops it.
doesn't trust them. Does anyone trust them? He trusts all the tight ends. He trusts
Yeah, he
all of
trusts
the
the
tight
tight
ends.
ends.
All three of them, all of them. He doesn't even really
Yeah.
trust Ricard to throw him the ball. But well, except unless you fumble the ball and then you gotta just make a bad
Hmm.
throw when you throw it to him.
Someone said, should they give Lamar that money at the, should they give Lamar a guaranteed contract? I say no, too many mental mistakes. Right now, I would lean on the side of I would lean on the side. I know he's the offense. He's the best player you have, but Lamar makes a lot of crucial mistakes. And here we go, right here. He too many times he just throws it up. I'm sorry. I can't get over that play. I can't
No
get over that play. I
contract.
can see if he was I think he should get some money. I can see if he was a first year quarterback and he did that. Okay. But after 5 years in the league, Lamar, you can't do that. Man, pick that thing up and throw it out of bounds.
Or pick
Pick
it
it
up
up
and
and
run
throw
the
it out of
ball.
bounds. Pick it
Just
up
pick it
and
up
run
and
it
run
out
the
of
ball.
bounds.
Yeah, just
You
something.
just can't. Yeah, and the
You
thing
can't
about
throw that
Mahomes, yeah,
interception.
Mahomes can do that because Mahomes has good receivers. He has, Mahomes has a better arm. Mahomes probably
Well,
could have threw that down to the 5, and Kelsey would have
yeah,
ran
I was
under
about
him.
to say, yeah, definitely about to say that. And I agree
Yeah,
with someone. Someone's going to give him the money. I'm not in the club of don't give him the money as of yet. I'm not in that club.
he's not
Um,
worth 230 million guarantee right now.
okay,
Maybe
but not
200 million.
neither is Deshaun Watson. Now, so we can blame
Right,
Cleveland all day long for this.
but that's the
Um,
standard. I
it's
blame
Cleveland's
Cleveland.
fault.
I
It's
blame
Cleveland's fault.
Cleveland. That's the standard,
Um,
though. It
so
is
someone
is
asked,
Lamar. Let me ask you: Is Lamar, before you do this, is Lamar worth 200 million guaranteed?
I think so. I think he is. I think he
Okay,
is.
all right.
I think he is. So I think he is. Now, so why not throw the ball and give our guys a 50-50 chance? Who's going to take the 50-50 chance? Mark Andrews?
He's
Who
throwing the
else?
ball to Patrick Pancake Pat. He's throwing to the Project Pat
Yeah,
Ricard.
Who else is going to take the you? There's no one that's gonna go up and snatch that ball but Mark Andrews, and we've seen Andrews do that. No one else is snatching that. I mean, it's you just run the ball out.
So
Let me see. Franchise tag. I
they're going to
so
franchise
I
tag
do
him.
think they're going to franchise tag him
They're
next
going to
year. I don't.
franchise tag him at least
Yeah.
probably 2 straight years if they
Well, they
can't
got to
get this
do it
straight.
one year. If they do it the second year, he's not coming back
No.
that third year. He's
Yeah, and
definitely not going
so
to come back.
that's what I'm saying. They got to, and to me also, Calvin. Let's take a little heat off of the coaching staff and the players because I think it's enough blame to go around. I got to say the sheen is off of the front office. They have not hit any home runs in the draft in terms of drafting defensive players in the last couple years. Something that they were good at early in the life of the organization, they have not done well with. I'm sorry, Odafe Owe, he's a non-factor. He is a non-factor. And let me tell you how
Yeah.
many tackles he had today, Calvin. As a matter of fact, he had a total of 2 tackles, 2 solo tackles. This is supposed to be your stud rush in outside linebacker, and he is a no hurries, no sacks, no quarterback hits. They had, let's see, 4, 5, 6 quarterback hits. No, 5. They had 5 quarterback hits this entire game. Daniel Jones passed the ball 27 times. They only hit him 5 times. They only got, they had 4 sacks, but he ran into at least 2 of those.
So I'm gonna agree with you in the front office. So their last few number one picks, and I'm just gonna do the number one picks. Owe, they haven't had a real pass rusher that they've drafted, of course, since Suggs. Um,
Exactly.
they kind of went heavy on secondary, and we talked about this before. I think they went heavy on secondary this year because of the Bengals to challenge the Bengals. But look, you know how I feel about number 14 on the field, and the boy is just not it right now. He's just not it. Um, yeah, they need a pass rusher. Patrick
They
Queen.
won't spend the money. They won't go out and spend the money on a quality. Okay, you don't draft one, cool. They used to do a thing where they got some really quality free agents. They used to get some quality. I'm not saying they were first day signees, but they would usually get kind of like a middle of the heat type of guy. Now they're only getting these guys that is after
Well, they
training camp.
now they did get Zadarius, and Zadarius backed out after what's his name went to the Bills and
Yeah.
got all that big
Okay.
money.
Well,
They
why didn't
did
you
get
up
him.
the offer? You let Darius walk, and then you didn't do nothing else.
Yeah,
And then
that's true.
you signed Fourfinger after the season starts.
Three finger,
JPP, three
three
finger,
finger.
Firecracker boy. You got here. You signed Firecracker boy after the season starts,
I think yeah that
and you
that
got Justin Houston trying to keep on selling as Justin Houston. Justin Houston been washed for about 5 years before he got here.
I think not only do I think he's washed, but let me hit y'all with something that I don't know if anyone else in Baltimore agrees with me because we seem to love him. Calais Campbell is done.
Calais Campbell been done.
Calais Campbell's been done for
Calais
the
Campbell
last two
been done.
years. Now he plugs in a hole that we need, but he is not an impact player. He did make that block against the Colts last year, which sparked that comeback. But he is not an impact player. Someone says likely is getting better and about to be that second big target.
Hmm.
So I think he showed up today because the concentration when you're out there, that concentration is on Mark Andrews. Same thing with Josh Oliver. He got some looks because the concentration is on Andrews. Likely, now maybe they need to run better plays for Likely because
Mm-hmm.
Likely he doesn't stretch the field like Mark Andrews does. So I don't
I
know.
will say this. I'm just looking at their draft history. The Ravens, the last good defensive end that they drafted was Judon. And they drafted Judon in 16. That's the last good stud. And he was drafted in the 5th round.
And they didn't want to pay Matthew. They didn't
Right.
want to pay him. They let
I
him walk.
understand he never had any double digit sack seasons while he was here. But I mean,
But
if
he
that's your
put the
last two
pressure
guys,
on the
you put the pressure
quarterback.
on there. He,
That's
yeah,
all he needed to do.
Odate, yeah, and so outside of that, Calvin, Chris Wormley, uh Tyus Bowser, who just had one good season last year before he tore his Achilles, Zach Zeiler, um, I'm looking at the defensive lineman, Jalen Ferguson, Mr. Fentanyl. Jalen Ferguson over over in the
What you
hood
doing?
off
What you doing?
29th Street.
What you doing? What are you doing?
Right.
Stop that. Stop.
Bro.
I'm talking to you, man. Stop that. Stop that, man.
Come
Stop
on,
that with that,
bro.
man.
Bro. As soon as they said where he was, I was like, oh,
Just leave that
okay.
man alone. Leave that
He
man
went
alone.
over there for that McDonald's on
Leave,
29th and Greenmount, bro.
we
Come
know that.
on.
Leave that man alone.
All
Somebody
right.
said, "What are the Ravens spending money on?"
Nothing.
Um, they now have
Offensive
Edgar and
lineman.
Allen. They paid the two. They paid the two
Oh,
mascots and the white uniforms that I hate that they wear. Those
I
white
will say
uniforms.
this though. The offensive line is good.
The offensive
Linderbaum is
line has
good.
really
The
has
offensive
really
line is
picked up
really
since the
up.
first second game. They have
They're
really
playing well.
picked up.
They're
They have really
playing
picked
well. But yeah, I mean, this defensive line, they're just it's meh. It's really, let's look at their picks from last year. They only picked one defensive tackle, and that was Travis Jones, who's playing right now full time
He
because
actually didn't play
Michael
too
Pierce,
bad today.
he didn't
Travis
play too
Jones didn't
bad
play too
today.
bad today.
And but he's because Michael Pierce is out after only playing 2 or 3 games. They really, yeah, Calvin. I mean, I have to look at the draft because the personnel and they won't spend the money on quality.
Who's the number one draft pick this year? Who was
Number
the
one
number
draft
one?
pick this year was Kyle Hamilton. They
And
had
what's
two number
Kyle
ones
Hamilton?
and
What has
Linderbaum.
Kyle Hamilton done?
He's not doing what he did at Notre Dame last year.
He's awful. He's awful.
He's
He's
not doing what he
awful.
did at Notre Dame last
Kyle
year.
Hamilton is awful. He's
And
awful.
then they're gonna draft a guy. He's probably not gonna play this year. Ojabo. I know everybody was excited last week. Oh, Ojabo returned to practice. I don't think Ojabo's probably going to see the field until probably after the 8th or 9th game. And do you
This
expect him to come on and be the second coming of Lawrence Taylor? He wasn't that in college.
we were in the this was the part of the schedule, and of course you can't overlook anything, but this was the part of the schedule that once you beat the Bengals, you were looking like, the Giants is winnable game, the
Yeah,
Browns a
keep
winnable
on going
game.
up. Keep on
It's
going
just
up.
then you got a Thursday night game. You go to Tampa Bay, which isn't a winnable game. I know the Steelers beat them today, but it's not necessarily a winnable game, especially
Right.
when they got the likes of Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. They can run the ball. It's Tom Brady. They have a good defense. It's not that necessarily a winnable
Bro,
game in Tampa
I'm
Bay.
I'm going back looking at some of these drafts. Outside of Zadarius Smith, who they drafted in 15. And when did I say they draft Matt Judon? They drafted him the next year
16.
in 16. They drafted Bronson Kafusi, Camelea Correa, bro. Chris Warren. They haven't drafted the defensive lineman, a quality defensive lineman. They should have went up in the draft last year and got a defensive lineman, and they didn't. And it's showing because, and so I've, yeah. To me, enough blame to pass around today. I did not like the offensive calls at some point. I think they got a little bit too pass happy. The run was working. Run the ball. You can get some play action. All of those things. But they got pass happy at some points where at one point it was like 7 straight pass plays. But
For
you're running the ball for nothing.
running the ball very well
You're
today
running very very well
with
today.
Kenyon Drake at
Yeah,
that.
with Kenyon Drake, a guy that's been washed 2 years ago. And then you can't get off the field against a team that does not have their first or second or backup starting wide receivers. They're playing third string wide receivers, and you
And
can't get off the field.
you're also playing Danny Dimes. You're playing Daniel
Right.
Jones. I
Someone said we
mean,
regress back to Browns. I'm not going to
I
go
don't know
that
if we're
far.
that bad.
We ain't that bad,
I don't know if we're that bad.
but yeah, this is a team. really, I thought about it the other day. This team really, realistically, should be at least 4-1. They should have been 4-1 going into this game,
I
and
would
now
even
then,
take I would even take 4-2 after today. You know what I mean?
yeah,
I would be happy with 4-2. This 3-3.
3-3 is a
Next week
disappointment.
is another must-win
Is a
home game against a
must
division
win,
opponent.
big game. Their strength is the run, and you're gonna have to get a lead and hold it. They can't hold leads, and it's crazy, Calvin. They're giving up these leads in the last minute or two. Again, a perfect example today. They didn't score go ahead until 145 left in the game.
So Eric says, I don't think we're that bad. So we don't necessarily think the team is that bad. We think the team is there. Some of the things that they are doing just don't make any sense. And the player personnel, the drafts. So I think, and I don't know how Garland feels, and we'll kind of wrap it
Mhm.
up with this because we're pushing up on time. I think for me, it's one of those because we haven't drafted well and the personnel is lacking, we can't make some of the mistakes that we make. We can't make some of the mental mistakes that we're making against teams that we should be beating. You know, if you look at like the Bills game, we had that game handily. You know, but if you lose to the Bills, okay, I don't like how we lost to the Bills, but okay. But the Giants, we should not have lost to the Giants the way we lost to the Giants. So it's not that we think the team is bad, but they don't have the pass rush, they don't have the receivers, they don't have the secondaries that make so much of a difference that you can afford to make these mistakes. You have to play a good game. You got to limit some of these mistakes and things that you're doing. That's how I feel about it,
Yeah,
Garland.
and let me second that. Let me join on that. Yeah, I think, like I said, if we look at these three losses, at least two of them should be wins. The Bills game and this game. And they lost those games because they cannot hold leads. How come they can't hold leads late? They don't have a pass rush. If you're going to play a zone defense, you're not going to pressure. You have to have defensive linemen who can get home on the quarterback, and they don't have it. And then on the offensive side, you have got to be more disciplined. All of these illegal procedure, false start, covering the tackle lineup. These are things that you cover in training camp. These are things that you cover in practice every day. There's no way that all pro left tackle and Ronnie Stanley should look to his left and see Kenyon Drake on the line and not tell Kenyon Drake, move back. That you see it happen all the time. Or Lamar should have recognized
Or
that on
call a
going,
timeout.
call a
That was
time.
a critical play. That
That's a
was the
critical
game.
play. If they get that first down, the game's over because the Giants are going to use their timeouts. You're going to run it, and you were having success running the ball. But yeah, I just think this is a disappointment right now. 6 games. It's a
It really
disappointment
is.
because they should not be 500. They should be at least 2 games above 500, and they're not. And you can't keep on playing like this the rest of the year. You can't keep on getting leads and carrying leads into the fourth quarter with 2 minutes left and lose games. That's not going to be successful in the NFL.
So the good thing is that we are still in first place in the AFC North. We don't have sole possession of
Barely.
first place. We just in first place by the win over the
It's
Bengals
like
last week.
That's
But
like being a Republican in name only. We're in first place in name only because we
yeah,
beat.
so
We're undefeated in the division.
but we're gonna wrap it
Mhm.
up. We ain't want to keep you all long, just our little rant on the
Horrible,
loss. So we
horrible,
definitely thank you for joining us. Make sure you
horrible
join
loss.
us tomorrow when we do our review of Raising Canaan and Queen Sugar. And listen to our podcast. It's on
Yeah,
Spotify, it's
we had a
it's
good
on
one.
Apple, it's on Anchor. Listen to our podcast. We just
I'm
put
gonna
one
tell
out
you.
yesterday. You gotta listen to
Go watch Why Did I Get Married before you listen to the
it.
segment about Daniel Snyder.
That
It's
was
a
that was
classic.
yesterday's, and
That
then we're
was
going to do one
yesterday,
next
so
weekend.
yeah. But
Real quick, someone said if I'm correct, we lost. We had the lead at some point. Am I correct? We had the lead in
we've had the
every
lead
game
in
that
every
we
game this
played.
season.
Every game that we
We've
played,
had the lead in
and
every
we've
game this
lost.
season, all the way up to I think it was only we've been behind only like 2 minutes the whole season in games.
Hey, whoever is commenting from YouTube, thank you for joining us on our
Yeah,
YouTube page and
I've
commenting from
seen.
there. So
I never seen a
that
team
we
without
appreciate.
balls and without leadership like that. I don't know without balls. They're not finishing. This is a team that cannot finish, and that's a bad recipe for the rest of you. If you can't finish these games, if you can't close out these games, and teams are staying close to you, we're seeing what happens. There's always a 500%. There's a 50-50 chance you're going to win when you play the Ravens if you keep it close going into the fourth quarter. And
And
there you go. We just saw it again.
that was never like that in the past. So anyway, thank you all for joining us. We will talk to you all tomorrow, and again, listen to our podcast. Thanks again. All right, Garland, man, let's get over it. Let me go watch some
Yeah,
Red
let me go
Zone
watch
and
some real
check
football
my
with the Chiefs
fantasy
and
teams
stuff in the
because I
Bills.
am winning in fantasy football. I'm not getting
Yeah.
eliminated this week. You gonna get eliminated in the Guillotine League this week?
Excuse me, sir. Be careful with yourself. Okay. I have Josh Allen starting today, so slow down. All right. Slow down.
Hey, y'all, thanks again for joining us. We will talk to you all later.